Hey everyone, thank you for checking out A1 Math. And today we're talking about graphing quadratic functions. And the first thing I want to do is talk about the parent function of a quadratic function, which is x squared. When you graph x squared, you get a U-shaped parabola like this. Okay, now the best way to graph a quadratic function is in vertex form. That way you can find the vertex very easy. So to explain vertex form, what I want to do is show the parent function in vertex form. Okay. Um, Nothing's being added to or multiplied against the parent function. That's why it's shaped the way it is. When you multiply and you add different things to the parent function, it changes or shifts where the parent function is. Okay. Now this h value will shift your parent function either to the left or to the right. This k value would shift your parent function up or down. And this a value will cause your parent function either to increase or decrease as far as how close your u is. Now, all of those things are important, but the most important thing you need to do as far as graphing a quadratic function is these four things. You need to find the vertex, know the axis of symmetry, know whether it opens up or down, and find your max and minimum value. Okay, now to find the vertex, you want to find the h and the k. Now, keep in mind, because in our basic function here, it's got the negative here, your h is going to be opposite of whatever it is as far as your sign is. So if this is positive, make it negative. If it's negative, make it positive. And the k will stay the same. That's your vertex. Your axis of symmetry is x equal whatever h is. To determine whether the function opens up or down, you want to look at your a value, which is here. If it's positive, it's going to open up. If it's negative, it's going to open down. And whatever your k value, that's your maximum, depending on whether it opens up or down. Let's take a look at an example. Okay, in our first example, we're supposed to identify the vertex, the axis of symmetry, max and min value, and then sketch the graph. Sketch the graph. Okay, and here's our quadratic function here. And the first thing we want to do is find the vertex. Okay, so our vertex is going to be the h value and the k value. So here's our h, and here's our k. Now, since this is negative here, I don't want to deal with that negative. I just want to keep this positive. So that's going to be 1, comma 1 for our vertex. Notice how the k became or stayed positive, and your h is now positive as well. Now, the axis of symmetry is going to be x equal 1. The axis of symmetry is always whatever the h value is. Now, the max and min is going to be 1. That's whatever the k value is. And to tell whether it opens up or down, we want to go off of the a value. There's no number here for the a value other than the understood 1, but it's positive, so that's going to let us know it's going to open up. Okay, so uh, next thing we're going to do is start with our t-chart, and we want to use and find our vertex. Our vertex is going to be 1, 1. So to graph, we want to plot 2 points up and 2 points down. 2 points up and 2 points down. Okay, so I want to use -1, 0, 1, 2, and 3, and I'm going to start off with -1 and plug that into my function right here. When I do that, I get -1 minus 1 squared plus 1. When I work the operation inside here, that gets me -2. -2 squared is 4, and 4 plus 1 is 5. So my first f of x here is going to be 5. Now I'm going to plug in 0. When I plug in 0, 0 minus 1 is going to give me -1. -1 squared is 1, and 1 plus 1 is 2. So my next f of x value is 2. Okay, now I'm going to move on down to 2 here. Plug in 2. 2 minus 1 is going to give me 1. 1 squared is 1, and then 1 plus 1 is 2. So my next f of x value is going to be 2 here. Okay, and now I'm going to go ahead and plug in 3. And when I plug in 3 here, 3 minus 1 is going to give me 2. 2 squared plus 1 is going to be, I'm sorry, 2 squared is going to be 4, and 4 plus 1 is 5. So when I plug in 3, I get 5. Okay, now that I have all my points here, I'm going to go ahead and plot those points. And you could just about see the U going ahead and taking shape right now. So now I draw my line through those points, and I have my quadratic function graphed. Okay, let's take a look at another example. Okay, so I want to start off by finding my vertex, axis of symmetry, maximum, and whether it opens up or down. Take a second and see if you can find that. Okay, now the vertex is going to be 1, -5. Change the -1 to positive, and -5 here. My axis of symmetry is whatever my h is, which is 1. My max and min is whatever my k is, which is -5. And since the 1/4 is positive, it opens up. Okay. Now let's see if we can go ahead and graph this. So I want to start off with my t-chart. And I'm going to use my vertex, which was 1, -5. Okay. I'm going to plot a couple points to the below 1 and a couple points above 1 here. -1, 0, 2, and 3. And our two examples, they was both the same, but they're not always the same. You want to plot 2 points above and 2 points below. Okay. Okay. Then I plug in -1 first. When I plug in -1, I get -4 as my answer here. Um, a lot of people are more familiar with working with 0.25 instead of 1/4, and that's no problem. Okay, so I plug in my -1, subtract and get -2, square that, and I get 4. Multiply that times 0.25. That's going to give me 1, and 1 minus 5 is -4. Now the next thing I'm going to plug in is 0. When I plug in 0, 0 minus 1 is going to give me -1. -1 squared is going to give me 1. 1 times 0.25 is going to give me 0.25. And 0.25 minus 5 is negative 4.75. Okay, so when I plug in 0 for my x, I get negative 4.75 for my f of x. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and plug in 2. When I plug in 2, I have 2 minus 1, which is 1. 1 squared is going to be 1, and then that 1 times 0.25 is 0.25 there. And 0.25 minus 5 is going to give me negative 4.75. Okay, so when I plug in 2, I get negative 4.75. And my last point here is 3. Okay, when I plug in 3, 3 minus 1 is going to give me 2. 2 squared is going to be 4. 4 times 0.25 is going to be 1. And then 1 minus 5 is going to give me negative 4. Now I have all my points, and I'm going to go ahead and plot those. Now that negative 4.75, what you want to do is get close to 5 but not quite 5. You want to go 3/4 up, sorry. Yep, 3/4 of the square when you get ready to plot those. As you can see, it starts to open kind of wide. So then you go ahead and graph that, and then that's your graph. Okay. Now, again, I want to thank you for checking out A1 Math, and this is how you graph a quadratic function. See you next time.